ma se resume el ritual.
Don't forget our gift cards available at RitaYanez.com, and so am I. Under your bed.
Turn on the light! Turn on the light! Turn on the light!
Hi there, Capricorn. This is your weekly reading for the week of December 14th through 20th. I wish you well. I hope your holiday season is off to a lovely start, and we are soon going to be switching into Capricorn birthday year. So get ready for that. I'm sure you're doing a lot of introspection. You're thinking, maybe contemplating this year, maybe many years subsequent to this now, where you've been through so much and you've gone through such major life adjustments and reality checks and goal checks and relationship checking that I don't blame you for feeling a little bit tired, but you have every right to be. And here, before we go into your birthday season, remember to take some you time to rest up, review your health, get your health checkups, make sure that you're taking good care of yourself so that you can take care of your children, your families, if you have them, if you don't, so that you make sure you're taking good care of yourself. Anyway, we tend to see a lot of Capricorn types giving and giving and doing and working like the solid mountain goat from birth to death. And in the meantime, we want to see you guys having some fun too. If we ever want something done and we want to make sure it's done right and on time and on task and that the project goes smoothly, we get you to do it, because you're the people that are able, above all, to keep things going at a constant pace. It's kind of the ultimate idea of the rabbit and the tortoise and the hare story, right? That the tortoise seems to be just slow going, and the rabbit tends to burn itself out right away and could have lots of different situations crop up because of that overabundance of energy and just being pure adrenaline without really noticing what's going on. And what does the hare do? The hare burns out and the tortoise wins the race. So always remember to take good care of yourself and make sure that you get plenty of good times in for yourself. Maybe you need to pamper yourself with a favorite movie and dip your hands in a nice hand bath and give yourself a manicure, or soak your feet in a nice foot bath. Do nice things for yourself. That goes a long way with you Capricorn types. And if ever there was somebody that really responds well to being given gift certificates to beauty salons for massage, for pedicure, manicure, facials, and especially to be given the equipment to do all of the above at home, it would be you. That's something you guys really, really like. On Monday, the card you've drawn is the Ten of Pentacles, and this is a card that has you reflecting or just thinking about in general what family means to you. What has family evolved to be for you today? What do you wish it would be? What was it when you were a child? Think about all the different ways that family structures have become pretty much normal and mainstream. Sometimes we have mom and dad and we have a couple of kids. Sometimes we've got mom and dad and we've got biological kids and adopted kids. Sometimes we see the same family unit with foster children or raising other family members' children. And then, of course, we've got sometimes two moms, two dads, and really we'll even see roommates getting together to adopt fur babies and to raise them together. And they could be a totally normal friendship, relationship, roommate type of situations. And sometimes they even evolve into the type of situations where their families are grown and gone, and two women that are widowed end up fostering children and doing the same thing, and or spending their time dedicated to soup kitchens and services for people that are in need, and spending time at the senior centers and creating programs. So there's so many different ways that family can be memorialized, that we can think of it in terms of what a nuclear family is today. It's pretty much whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be one thing or another. It can be you and your kids and you're a single mom. And it could be you and your husband and the foster children or the foster dogs, the fur babies. There's so many different ways. So if you feel like things haven't gone really well for you or that you're somehow alone in the world, if your thoughts turn inward and you feel that things are just not the way you'd like them to be, sit down and take some time to think about the blessings you've had in your life. Don't dwell, say, on the missed opportunities, the one that got away, the children you never made time for, the relationships you never opened yourself up to. Don't dwell on that for too long. It's okay to turn the gaze inward into our own inner workings, but only insofar as it becomes helpful to make sense of and to be able to use these new perspectives, these new ways of seeing these experiences as healthy and whole on their own. And as long as we don't end up stumbling on these things or falling into a regrettable chorus of old lang syne, then everything will be okay. And of course, if you're feeling lonesome because you're far away, or for all of our beloved service persons that are doing the best they can to protect others and to serve our country and other countries in the world, we miss you. We love you. We are your extended family. So no matter where you are, and I have lots of fans that are in the service all over the place, I really appreciate you for everything you do for us and for my children and for my family and for everyone else who isn't there doing what you do. Remember, I love you, and so do so many others, and we're always thinking about you too. We wish you safely home the next time you're going to be here. So on Monday, we have the Sun in Sagittarius squaring Jupiter and Virgo. Sun in Sagittarius is your solar 12th house, and there you are, turning the gaze inward, thinking about the past, thinking about your childhood. Some of you may have already done so much work on yourself that you're even incorporating themes from what could be potential past life experiences or early childhood experiences, and many of you thinking about the whole concept of how was I raised? I don't think I was raised well, and you finally come to the point where you understand that people did the best they could at the time with the knowledge they had or the abilities that they were born with, or sometimes people aren't given any other skills in their lives and we wonder how the heck did they raise anybody at all. Well, they might not have, and some people end up adopted, and some people end up being fostered by other families or raised by aunts and uncles. And so if you've done that kind of work, that you've gotten to that point saying, hey, it's okay, so I don't have my family anymore, or perhaps I'm getting on in age and my biological family is mostly deceased and I only have a few cousins here and there, you might want to reach out and see if you can find them on Facebook, or if you could locate them just enough to say, hey, thinking of you, I'm always thankful for your presence in life, and for what it's worth, I love you. If it's reciprocated, great. If it isn't, you said it. And in that same way, we've got Jupiter and Virgo, your solar 9th house. And so you could be thinking of traveling, and you might be traveling for the holiday season. And if not, you could be thinking long ago and far away into some different time and space in your life. And it could be that you're turning your thoughts inward and contemplating things like, what is divinity? What is spirituality? Why do people need religion? Why do they divide themselves up? Is it because that's all they know? Were they conditioned this way? Are we becoming closer together as human beings, as the human race, or are we becoming divided by everything from negativity to war and crime and poverty? How do we get closer together? These are the things that the 9th house rules, and with Jupiter there, it could really cause you to feel expansive about these same areas of life, and you could be considering what more can you do to feel better about having done something, been a part of something greater than just yourselves. And this could be where you're thinking about maybe wanting to gather up around the holidays, winter coats from people's homes, or you get together with your network of friends or family, or the people that you retired from work with from one company or another, and you say, hey, let's get together and let's see what kind of clothes we can gather up for the less fortunate. That right there is doing plenty. Even if you help one person and give them $5 and that's the best you can do, and somebody says, hey, that guy's probably going to buy beer. Well, maybe he needs a beer. Maybe that person just needs to know that somebody cares. Maybe that's an angel in disguise. How would we know? We don't know who that person is. Of course, be safe in all you do, but your thoughts could also be turning to these metaphysical studies, the thoughts of things greater than just the esoteric. Where does it really meet in other dimensions, in other worlds? Where are we connected to, and what is it? And even if you don't have an answer, and neither do I mean, we all have little bits and pieces of the puzzle, whatever it is that your contribution is, even on the collective level, even in the collective consciousness, trust me that the moment that you question something and say, why is the sky this shade? Why are the seasons like this? Why is there suffering in the world? What is it that causes this? Well, this is the world of people doing things and of their own free will and volition. And then, of course, we have to consider that there are some sick puppies in the world, whether they are conditioned by some grotesque abomination of something they call religion, which we call hate and division. You know, what we can do is send love out into the universe to say, we understand that there are sick people. We understand that there are cruel people. We understand there's even mental illness and alcohol and drug dependencies that twist the mind. And then we know that sometimes people are damaged by different types of abuse, you know, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, substance abuse. There's so many ways that people could get damaged along the way that it's kind of easy to see how when we're in the world of mice and men, as it were, and here we are working with each other and sometimes up against each other and even clashing with each other. A lot of us are just trying to help create more harmony in one way or another. Some scientists will do it by learning how things work to be able to turn ocean water into fresh water. And then other people go on and teach this and gather donations to create systems to help people in other countries. And then, of course, we know that there isn't always an answer to ending the suffering, but we do our damn best to try to make life better for ourselves and for each other, one single act of kindness and love at a time. This is what Christmas is really about. Even if you aren't a Jesus person, even if you're not a Christian type, whether or not you believe that there is some higher power or greater consciousness or spirit of love or something that moves and stirs us all toward kindness and love to all humanity, it really comes down to just love and kindness for each other. Also, Mercury in Capricorn will sextile Neptune in Pisces. Capricorn being your solar first house for the purpose of this reading, of course, would be more appropriate for those of you that know for a fact you are a Capricorn ascendant. And if you have your natal chart, then of course you could have that information and know by what degree is your ascendant. And for the rest of you that are sun sign Capricorn, of course, if you can find what your ascendant is by knowing your birth date, location, and exact time, then you can get that information from any number of free tools on the internet. You can certainly find it on my website, ritayanez.com, where you can input that information. It's not my favorite tool, but it is the code that I found to be able to provide that for you. But you can generally just Google natal chart calculator and then you put your birth information in there and you'll be just fine. Neptune in Pisces, Pisces being your solar third house communication, is also where Chiron is. And Neptune here is trying to help demystify communications for you. And with the planet Mercury of communication in that solar first house, we see that you feel like you want to reach out and communicate. Maybe with the sun in Sagittarius, there's a person from your past that you wish to reach out to, that you hope to connect to. And if that person isn't alive or isn't able to be reached for one reason or another, you can still try to reach them on a spiritual level. In my opinion, you can pray for them, you can meditate upon them, you can create their name in a Zen garden of sand in a box and do something to connect with them on an energetic level. It really does work. You can go to bed thinking of that person and you can send them light and love and sweetness, and they will probably get your message just fine. Also, this lets us know that there is an opportunity, if anything, to find a peaceful way to solve some of these conundrums that have perplexed you for many years in terms of understanding, well, my role in not having been able to justify my actions in the past or my inability to correct certain situations or what I wish I would have, could have, should have done differently. You might be able to actually find that the opportunity here to heal this could be dialogue with yourself, and especially so at this time with the sun in Sagittarius, your solar 12th house again, where you could really commit some time here and there. If it becomes too melancholy, of course, don't dwell there for too long, but just in small bite-sized pieces at a time that you think about, well, maybe I should have been more loving toward my ex-wife. Maybe my mother, I should have given more time and attention to her, no matter how cantankerous she was. And you could make peace with this, knowing that if you had to do it all again with the wisdom that you have now, you'd do it differently. We can't go back into the past to correct this, and there is no flying car time machine, to be able to go back and do this. I suppose in some ways there are, but it really wouldn't work the way we would like it to. And remember that always in the end, there's going to be a way when all is said and done and we all go home to the dimension that I love best, but we can't go there until it's our time, where we can connect with these people once again and really just love each other and let each other know how we really feel. And it will be so sweet and so easy. But remember, you're here in this place with me and with everybody else because you're working on it in the present. On Tuesday, we have the Four of Wands in reverse, and this could be, again, that little bit of melancholy or the fact that you don't feel connected to home and family the way that you wish you could be, or that there really is difficulty in reaching your biological family, your family of origin, your tribe, as it were, that somehow you can't connect to it. And I think that maybe for you guys, for the most part, it's important to think about Mars in Libra, your solar 10th house, opposite Uranus in Aries, your solar 4th house of that home and family, of that foundation, of that home structure. The idea of home is located there in what it was when you were a child and what it is today as an adult, and perhaps the home that you've created for yourself, your pets, and or your children. And even if they're grown, this is a foundation that you prepared and did your best to nurture them through. And the reason why I think it's important is that they're still opposing each other, and this is a pretty nasty kind of opposition, especially if we don't put it into perspective. And in the 4th house, it can be disruptive when we already have issues about trying to heal the past associations, early life experiences, the things that we do that we almost punish ourselves with by nagging at our own wounded inner children and saying, bad girl, thing you didn't do right, and boo-hoo, time out for forever and ever. This is really where we need to focus on why this opposition is here. So I think that for a lot of you, if you're young and you have families and children and you're still raising people in your home, you need to make sure that you're balancing your career with your home life. So Capricorn, you guys tend to be workaholics at best. And so if this is something that you actively do, you need to remember that you need to hang up your hat when you get home. That overtime is great here and there, but you almost have to stand up for yourself, especially people that work in emergency services, law enforcement, fire and rescue, forest services, people that have to just kind of get up in the middle of the night and go. I've heard of crazy stories where people have been on the scene showing up for a 911 phone call with a woman giving birth, and then I knew one person whose wife was giving birth, went into labor at the same time, and gave birth to their child while he was out there helping somebody else. It was almost, the irony was almost impossible to consider. And of course, it was healed easily very after, because his wife was actually a very understanding person. But it made him really consider how much time he should have spent working. And later he was able to say, and for the next child, if we're that fortunate, and they were, that he was going to take off right around that time that this woman would have been due. And so that's the kind of thing that we have to remember, because the opposition isn't the problem as much as it is where it's located at for you in solar astrology, because that's a sensitive house. The 4th house, especially the month before your birthday season starts, and this time of year that people can become melancholy, and where you might already be trying to work through different issues from the past, maybe the ghosts of your Christmas past and present and future, and so you're working through these things. It could be sensitized. Uranus in Aries could almost provoke an unexpected response. So maybe you get dissed by a family member at the time you need them most, or you can't reach somebody you love, or you are very far away serving our country somewhere and in some desolate, destructed, just difficult place, and that if you could do it all again, you'd want to be home. And maybe that's what you'll do. Maybe you can call it good and say, that's enough. I gotta go home. I gotta be with my family. This has got to be the last time. And so, of course, I don't understand the workings of the contracts that people are involved in, especially for people that make careers of the military. Of course, they're in service, but at some point somebody's got to say, I got to be done here. And so whatever time that is for you, this could be sensitized. Mars and Libra could make you almost reactive at work or on the public stage where your reputation is out there for full view. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but it could be that imbalance that causes you to overfocus on your work and your duties out there, whatever you've chosen as a profession or as an obsession or your career. And for those of you who are retired, this could be where that empty nest feeling is, because you're like, now what do I do if I'm not overworked all the time? I don't know how to be. Totally reminds me of my dad, who was actually a Capricorn, January 14th, 1937. And this is a person who totally identified with work and totally identified with physical strength and did crazy things like lifted refrigerators on his back just to prove he could, and caused himself a lot of physical injuries, but it was all that he had to identify with. And when he couldn't work anymore doing the same things, I remember when I'd relocated and I was still waiting to bring my daddy with me, and it didn't happen that way. He sent pictures to my then husband of the amazing feat of having removed a flowering plum tree all on his own. And it was such a proud moment for him. And I realized again, Dad identifies with work. And when I was around, he identified with my children, his grandchildren. But when I wasn't present, he again went back into that workaholic mode and didn't know how to be if he wasn't in service to somebody somewhere. So you got to make sure that you are not putting too much emphasis on that 10th house. And if you are now retired and you've thrown yourself into community services and charitable events and stuff like this, if you're doing it to fill a void in your life because you're widowed or retired and single and you don't have anybody in your life, or you choose not to, remember then that at the end of the day, if you're unhappy because you don't have anybody to share your personal time with, you need to do something about that. Connect with somebody who feels the way you do. You don't have to get into a romantic situation if you're widowed and you don't want to disrespect the memory of somebody, or if you really feel strongly about that. But that doesn't mean you can't be best friends with somebody. Have somebody to go bowling with, for crying out loud, or feed the birds, or go watch a movie together. Do something so that you have someone to be there with you on the rest of your journey in this place. So keep that in mind. Your instability here could just be about this opposition causing you to really think about something that for you guys is much more real than it is for other people. Most people, they'll be like, yeah, career, whatever, but I got to play with my kids. I got to train my dogs. I got to go fishing. I got to be with my family. And then you're like, but if I don't have those things, then what happens to work? What is my identity? Well, create a new identity for yourself. Capricorn, you'll enjoy it. Wednesday, we've got the Knight of Swords, and this is a card that indicates you're feeling somewhat aggressive about something. It could be passionate. It could be that you just really want to say your piece, which I don't deny, because of course, again, knowing that we have Mercury, the planet of communication, in your solar first house, and also being conjunct Pluto, we know that there is going to be some truth that you want to know. Maybe it's a truth about yourself that you want to discover. Maybe you were adopted and you really gotta need to know, where is your family? Even if people say, what are you going to do? Find out that they didn't want you, or is it going to hurt you? And you might say, look, I don't care what it is. I just want to know the etiology. I just want to know what it was. What is the story? I'm interested in knowing. I'm not here to blame. I just want to know, who are these people? What became of them? What is the story? And let them know, and they'll even help you with it, as long as they know that you're not going to be upset by it, which Capricorn, you guys can be very emotional, but it is one of the things in your lifetime that you need to work on. And you probably have experienced this. And of course, the older you are, the more you know what I'm talking about, that at different times when you've been not able to express yourself or to really share about your inner wounding or about the painful experiences in life, the world has a way of making these things come up for review. And maybe you're feeling like, I got to do this. I got to face my fears. I got to make amends. I got to connect with the people that I hurt or I wronged, or those who hurt me. I got to let them know that I forgive them and that there's no bad blood here. Now, Pisces in your solar third is your solar third house. And for this discussion, of course, we're considering that Neptune here and Chiron could bring up some information that might be a little bit sensitive. But I think you're already in the frame of mind where you want this information and you want the closure to whatever end. I think that when somebody like Capricorn goes out on a mission to find the truth, tell the truth, express the truth, be the truth, live the truth, no matter whether it's beautiful or hideously ugly, that you guys are ready for it. At this point, I'd be like, watch, because this is going to be the mountain goat, get to the precipice and go, holy shit, and it's a desolate wasteland, and I thought there was going to be some beautiful vista, but then you get there and you say, but now I know the truth of what's here at the top. When I look at it, I say, desert, barren wasteland. Now let me go find another mountain to climb, and you'll just go do that. On Thursday, you've got the Nine of Cups in reverse, so there could be the element of getting something that you wish for, probably on a communicative, emotional level, and saying, wow, damn, I thought I really wanted this information, and I found out my father ended up having a sex change operation, or something crazy, and you're like, wow, so what does that mean now? Now I've got more to think about. Well, think away and decide to put it into perspective, and this is not the world the way it was. It doesn't necessarily have to say or mean, that it's all just gone to hell, Sodom and Gomorrah, people are nuts. But we do have a lot of different life experiences other people are living out, usually on social media and very much in our faces. I don't care which Kardashian ate placenta. I wish none of us had to have glanced at that information, and to see some of these very almost bizarre lifestyles played out on the world stage. And for a very conservative individual as you are, you might get some information and be like, so I find out that my biological mother was a prostitute with a heroin addiction and she took herself out. Yes, and what of it? What of it? That's what her life became. That's not what she wanted for you. If she's deceased, she's in a far better place than any of us could ever hope to be. And she's okay. And were you able to connect with her in this physical place? Maybe some of you weren't able to. Maybe your mother died when you were very young, and that left a very, very deep and sensitive, empty space in your heart. And over time, you've become the mother that you wish you had. Or you've become the father who found the right woman to create the family with the person that you longed for. Vice versa, if it's a father figure. So there are plenty of things that you could get with this kind of introspection and analysis that could be strange. And for some of you, this could play out in the way that you're able to harmonize this information. You're actually able to turn it into something good. You get weird information and you turn it into something good. Like, wow, I'm going to write this down because that is one hell of a story that I just got here. Interesting. I'm just going to journal about this. And even if I don't have any children, I don't have downline, I want to blog about it so that people know, so that if there's ever another person going through this, so that they know what my journey has been like for me. Venus in Scorpio, your solar 11th house of friends and group associations and the people you hang with, chill with, the people you work with, maybe you used to work with them. Whatever this group of people is, they usually have some kind of an attachment to the work you used to do if you're retired, or this could even be the neighborhood community where you work if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're raising children, or if you're a stay-at-home dad and your involvement with the board of directors for the home association, something such as this. It would be that group of people. We've got Venus there making it very sweet, very pleasant. If you're out to look for new friends, you will find them and they will be drawn to you like moth to flame, hopefully with a better end than it is for the moth. But that sextiles Pluto and Capricorn, again, your first house of identity, of self, the way you project yourself into the world. And people are going to say one thing about you, and it will probably be, that is one deep individual. That is one deep individual. And you might have a lot of information that they would love to hear, and they will be enchanted by your discussions and your conversations and your analysis of whatever. Maybe you've got to go and figure out how you're going to handle the people who won't put their trash cans away. And some people think that this is such a small detail, and we all know that it sucks to go down the street when everybody's nasty can is on the outside. And so there are a lot of ways that people can become endeared to you, but they really like your energy and you're coming across absolutely beautifully, just absolutely beautifully. So get out there, mix and mingle. On Friday, we've got the Hierophant in reverse, and here you are shaking it up. Shake your groove thing. That's an old song. I continue to date myself. I feel as old as the trees. If anybody cuts me in half, we could count my rings. I probably won't live through it. But Hierophant in reverse is a card that indicates that if you have somehow fallen off your path and are looking for it, you will find it again, but you might find it in a different way than what you expect. Likewise, it could be that you become too rigid, too pragmatic, you're just too structured, and we need to shake you up. Like, this would be the moment that I would love to run up to you and completely cover you in a can or two of silly string. You need it. If there's ever somebody that we'd really love to have fun with, or maybe throw gack splat at, if you guys have kids, you know what that is, and or buy you one of those big boards with all of the little metal styluses where you could push your face into it. You'd be great for this. I want to give you an Etch-a-Sketch for Christmas. You'd be the best person to sit there and really entertain yourself with it. We also have on this day the Sun in Sagittarius squaring the North Node in Virgo. So Sagittarius, again, that solar 12th house. Virgo, that solar 9th house. So there could be your thoughts taken to drifting off into distant lands and faraway places. Maybe you're an Irish lad of descent of these beautiful people, and you're thinking about them long ago, far away, and trying to trace some history, or think about the traditions of the people in those countries, or wherever you hail from, whether it's Haiti, Ireland, it doesn't matter. You might be thinking about people in different places far away. And for those of you who are traveling, I wish you safe travels in all you do, but that could really be a beautiful way of using the higher octave of this energy, because the North Node wants us to focus here. And these are points in the sky that switch constellations approximately every 18 months. And where there's the North Node, the South Node is always directly opposite to it. And the way I like to think of it is, where the North Node is, put your attention there, focus there, good will come of it. Where the South Node is, in your case, your third house of Pisces, your communication is here, Neptune is here, Chiron is here. This could actually be very healing for you, maybe even in a deeply spiritual way that you surprise yourself and say, geez, I'm like a badass honey badger, and I am so deep, and I am so much more deep than people realize. And then suddenly you start wearing macrame bracelets, and you're a hippie wearing a hemp gown. Maybe there's something here that moves you to more of a natural, organic, spiritually inclined, connected to the earth kind of movement, where it seems something of a dichotomy to think very far away and very high-minded, and to the spiritual and to the philosophical and to the different realms that we don't always get to because we're too busy to focus there, that you could actually find structure and peace within it by making sense of what the greater is outside you, so that on a very, very internal and personal level, you find some healing there. And it seems to be something that you're able to beautifully talk about and communicate and disseminate the information that you learn with other people who are interested in hearing what you have to say. And it looks to me, like I said, with Venus and Scorpio, your 11th house, very powerful, very magnetic, where you really have audience with people that you might not have realized have to actually sit down and listen to what you have to say, because they're totally fascinated by you. So great conversation piece that you would be. Venus and Scorpio here on this day as well is quincunx, which is an inconjunct aspect to Uranus and Aries. So again, we have the 11th house having a conversation that is slightly weird, maybe a little bit of an adjustment is involved, and it could be a tiny bit disruptive because, again, it's talking about the 4th house of home, family. Uranus could bring up some very odd and sometimes revealing discussions, but we do find at times that as long as we stay chill and we do not insult people's intelligence with our own opinions, if let's say you're sitting there and somebody starts talking about how great Donald Trump is, and you think you're going to haul back and bust this person's head off, and you have to stop and think everybody has free choice to think whatever they want to, even if it's about a complete idiot. And I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the idea that we have freedom of speech in our country, and that you're not censored from even praising the weirdo with the hair. So whatever it is that you do, just try to calm your reaction time down, because sometimes Scorpio can be so powerful, and with Venus here can get away with practically murder. And before you know it, you know what you've done, that you're about to insult somebody's complete lack of integrity, and then they totally feel like, wow, and you kicked me in the ass at the same time, dude, thanks. And you're like, no problem, I was just trying to help a brother out. Saturday, we've got the 6 of Cups here, and this is an indication in reverse that there could be an over attachment to a person from your past, someone who evokes a response in you that harkens to better times, if not nostalgic times. And if you can't, again, reach back into the past to communicate with, either because it's geographically or physically impossible to, or this person is in another dimension because they're not certainly alive here in this place, then try to release some of the grip on this, in that even if you couldn't affect the relationship, the situation, the dialogue, the healing, the coming back together again of maybe you and your children, or some situation that has long since passed, maybe there isn't a need to go back there anymore other than to say, wow, that happened. And that's all that I can do with it. If this person doesn't give me the opportunity to say my piece, to say their piece, then I have done everything I can. At that point, let it go and release it. And maybe you really do need to release an attachment to a relationship that malfunctioned long ago, and yet you're somehow still wounded. A lot of people don't realize that Capricorn is really good at holding grudges. The reason why you don't get the attention that, say, Cancer does for being completely out of their minds and holding on to, the little wounded inner child, and theirs is much more like a tantrum gone wrong. Scorpio, we have a tendency to never, ever forget a thing you've done one time. We may not hold it over your head, but we certainly keep it in the random access memory. And yet at the same time, I know for a fact Capricorn can, because I've seen it many, many times. And yet at the same time, when I've even tried to have a dialogue with a particular Capricorn, who shall be nameless, that I wanted to say, hey, when you did this and this thing, it really hurt my feelings. And to this day, you have not said sorry. Then what does my beautiful friend say? He wants a picture of my boobs. I wanted to kill this individual who's old enough to be my father. I wanted to deck him in the face. And by now he's probably wondering, hi, sweetheart, in case you're listening. Now he's probably wondering why I didn't send him a picture of my boobs. You could fool me once, but fool me twice and you've got too many boobs. Whatever it is, that's the kind of thing that I think sometimes Capricorn doesn't want to own up to, that they don't want to have to say, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, because it's actually deeper for them, more painful. You guys have an almost Catholic ability to punish yourselves. But if you would just allow the expression to flow, all I would have wanted for this individual would be to say, hey, look, that was totally inappropriate, but I don't know how to connect with you. And I thought asking for a picture of your rack was going to make things better. And I could be like, you are freaking dumb as a block of wood, but at least I could have had my say in it. And since that individual has not managed to apologize to me in a way where it would be irrefutable, then I'm going to sit here and hold my scorpionic grudge, even though I'm not, of course, I don't hate him or anything, but I told my mom, don't talk to him because he wants a picture of my tits. How about that, Mom? And she's like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, And I told that to my excellent grudge-bearing Taurus mother, who will not forget anyone's transgressions, and she'll stay angry from sun up to sundown until she has her moment to tell you how pissed off she is, wagging her little fist. So keep in mind that sometimes an attachment to the past could be that it isn't something that someone did to you or something that wasn't manifest the way you wanted it to be. It could be that you feel like you never had the opportunity to say, I'm sorry. And then maybe somebody's acting like me saying, yeah, pretty much I'm going to make it almost impossible for you to apologize. Get creative, my friend. And so in this way, we have to think about maybe what is our attachment to this? Is it that we wish we could make it better, or we're embarrassed or mortified about what we did long ago? You could still make peace with it effectively by deciding to release it and say, well, if she never talks to me again, I won't be able to apologize for asking to look at her, bumper sticker, whatever that is. And so you may just need to let it go and hope that the universe brings the opportunity to you to not do the same thing next time, or to use different discretion or different communications, or to even just make sure the next time you see that person that you haven't seen in a while to say, I love you and I don't care why. It reminds me of this line from Elf movie, right? I'm in love and I'm love and I don't care who knows it. That would be really wild to see you guys just go crazy and let loose, right? Because which Capricorn do you know doesn't need to cut loose just once and for all? Come on, emote, people. We want to see it. The Queen of Swords here is an air sign, potentially. She could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and she could just be somebody who is very much like a communicator such as this. Also, this could be a woman who is represented in your mind as somebody who's divorced, somebody who's a very strong, independent woman. Yeah, I suppose it could be a very feminine, kind of masculine, tough woman, tough man. I get lost here trying to include everybody into my 31 flavors of varieties of people now. But this is where you might be saying to yourself, well, she's totally ignoring what I'm saying. I can't reach her. Maybe this is your sister. Maybe this is your ex. Maybe this is your current. Maybe this is somebody that you totally blew it with. If you're a female, this could be somebody related to you, or maybe the ex-wife of the husband you stole from her, and you just got to somehow try to make this better. Well, nothing wrong with sending a message to a person, maybe a very gentle letter saying things like, I'm sorry for whatever I've done. If you do know what you've done, list it and do not create excuses for it. And say things like, I hurt your feelings and I'm so sorry. I have paid for this. I know that I've got to make amends for this. I don't know how. I'm sure you don't want to talk to me, but please know that I'm very sorry. I want you to know that whether you forgive me or not, I very truly, sincerely am sorry that I hurt your feelings. And even if this person never responds or calls the cops and says, tell this individual to not talk to me, please, and then they've got to go to that point of making sure that, there's no communication. At least you've said it, right? The reason why I feel like she's not listening to you is just simply look at the position she's in. She's facing away from your reading. And as the last card, it is probably significant. This could be your mother. This could be the way you're feeling. Now, let me give you a piece of advice here. If this is the way you feel, I want you to keep in mind that holding on to a grudge for the sake of holding it, trust me from a fellow grudge bearer, that it really isn't going to help you in any way. Even though I like to spout off and talk about things that piss me off too, I really do it to show you that I'm human, because I don't want you to think I'm perfect in any way. My education doesn't save me from my own stupidity. My experience in life doesn't save me from my own foolish folly. So I also at the same time am somewhat venting, about what these experiences have been like for me, so that you know that other people are able to share. And here I am with tons of people listening to what I'm talking about, letting you know that somebody pissed me off by asking for a picture of my rack. And something such as this, even though it seems kind of minuscule, and I really don't think the person who asked me for this is listening to this, but you never know. And in that case, of course, what I'm trying to let you know is, like, maybe there are some of you that have done the same thing to somebody else, and you're like, damn, I didn't know that women didn't like that kind of attention. No, actually, we don't. You put us under pressure, makes us uncomfortable. Then I feel like a slab of meat on a hook somewhere, just ready to be basted and, spitfire roasted. It's not my most fun position. And women who usually think that this kind of attention is great, there's so much wrong with them that we can't even begin to sum it up. They don't have good self-esteem. They don't value or respect themselves. They're very easy to, get your way with, because they don't respect anything. Maybe they haven't learned it. Maybe they weren't taught it. Maybe they had no role model. And then when somebody is treating them that way, they think that this is love. And we're like, Lord Jesus Christ, that's not love, right? That's called something else that I won't tell you. So if this woman is a part of your life and you're not able to reach her, that's one thing. Try to make amends, even spiritually. Maybe go to sleep with the mantra in your head that at night you're going to try to reach this person's spiritual self in a certain way to let them know that you're really sorry. Also, if you wish that person would apologize to you, you could ask for that apology also before you go to sleep. It's a very easy way to hold that in your subconscious while you sleep and dream, which makes it very, very easy to do these special tricks with. If you're the one feeling this way, I just want to remind you that it's better to just release it, vent about it to a friend until you're sick of it. If you've got one of those special friends and they will just let you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about their problems until you're done and bored of hearing yourself, talk to that person and let them know that you're frustrated because you feel like you can't really release it, and they'll help you release it. You'll see by just venting it to a gentle shoulder. You'll see. Also, keep in mind, like I said, the Uranus and Mars opposition is probably the one that we need to pay attention to the most. I think that you're actually in a really good place in your mind to be able to think about these different varied past experiences, which, maybe one or several of the themes that I've offered you may come into play. And don't forget that Mercury goes into retrograde shadow on the 19th. And so you need to keep track of your receipts, your cell phone, your credit cards, your billfold, your purse, whatever it is that you keep track of, whatever you need to hold on to make sure that you, before you walk away from a counter, ask yourself, think about like the old Dick Van Dyke fire videos. Remember those? Stop, drop, and roll. Well, stop, drop, and check your crap and make sure that you haven't left something behind, because this is about the time of year when we would start losing things and misplacing them, or we could be robbed and or pickpocketed. So make sure that when you do go shopping that you ask somebody else to walk out with you, or that you make sure that you're not going to your vehicle at night, even in broad daylight in the safest of places. You need to be careful, because I always try to remind people, those who get mugged or murdered probably didn't see it coming, and by the time they did, it was too late. So if you carry mace, or if you carry brass knuckles, I'm not telling you to break the law or anything, but you know what, as a woman, I think you got to do whatever you got to do, and a can of mace will only hurt the people who run up to you and try to do something to you. And then you could answer to the law later, but at that point, then at least you know that you're probably going to be safe. Venus will trine Chiron and Pisces. So Venus in Scorpio, that 11th house again. Pisces, the solar third house of communication, where I think that even on a spiritual level, you can make amends to people that you really wish that you could talk to and try to get these things worked out with. And even if this person is gone or deceased or divorced or otherwise somewhere in the past, maybe Capricorn, there is an element of releasing it and letting it go, so that the universe sees that you're done. Whether mourning for a person, pining for a person, wishing for a situation to have worked out differently, as soon as you show the universe that your basket is empty and that you're ready to receive, let me guarantee you, universe will put exactly what you need in your basket. So remember to run outside, because it's not going to find you if you're locked in your little house, hidden away from everyone, when you've got such a beautiful Venus in Scorpio making you ultra, ultra interesting. God bless you guys, and I'll be talking to you soon.